We're asking everybody else to.
Fair enough. That's how it's going to go. All right. Hey, we're live.
How's everybody doing?
All right. How are you doing?
I feel like we need some nicknames with the mask on. But, we're going to wear the mask.
We're not banning Lex Luthor.
We're going to wear the mask today because at our place of business, we do require it of everyone. And so I kind of feel like since we're requiring of everybody in the audience,
we're part of everyone.
We need to do it as well.
I get it.
So in our audience, let's see who we got here today. So
all right.
just I know we're broadcasting live, but we do have a little audience. So we've got 4 folks with us today, and maybe share your name and maybe something about sports that you really enjoy.
I go first. Judy, and I love baseball.
Okay, we got Judy who loves baseball. That's awesome.
It's a good time of year for you, Judy. It's
Yeah.
about to get good.
Yeah, playoffs.
You got it.
Oh, yeah.
And who else do we have hiding back there?
Me, well, you know, Chris.
I know who you are, but I got to tell the audience who you are.
Well, my name is Mike, and the Bengals hit the butt kick yesterday. That's my team.
Now, wait a minute. That was only a 50-50 butt kicking because it was a tie.
Yeah, it was just like the last time. Remember that last time they had? And that field goal, boom, 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 went down the drain, and the other team won.
We're going to talk more about that in just a little bit here. All right, way back there. You have to talk loud. We got Larry who loves baseball.
2 baseballs.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Tony, you want to tell us who you are and what you like about sports? Football.
You have a favorite team?
The Bengals, I guess.
Bengals? Okay. Well, that's great to hear. We're going to do things a little different today. I know anybody who took part in the past when we were doing it online, when we were closed and trying to just provide a little bit of sports, we kind of hit on a lot of different topics. We usually tried to have some takeaway moments with some learning objectives. I know we used John Wooden and a lot of the wonderful things he taught folks in life and worked out of a book that he has. So today, instead of all the serious, business of tying us back to recovery or tying us back to some sort of learning objective, today we're just going to have fun. We're just going to talk sports. Nothing but sports today. So we're just going to have some fun.
And why is that? It's because it's been forever since we could just talk about sports and have something to talk about.
It has been. So we're going to leave all the learning stuff behind.
Good.
And we'll pick up with that shortly, probably next week. But for today, we're going to talk sports and have some fun. So
That sounds good.
well, I know when it comes to baseball, let me start with baseball first.
Yeah.
Okay, so the baseball playoffs are starting. And being that we're from Cincinnati, Ohio, we got some Reds fans in the audience, correct? All right, so who can tell me who are the Reds playing in the playoffs? Do you know?
Atlanta.
Play the Atlanta
Very nice.
Braves. Very good. Yep. And when does that series start?
October 6th.
No, I think it might be sooner. I think it's this Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
I believe this Wednesday.
6th.
I'll double check that. That might be, is that the first on Wednesday?
It's either first or second.
That we still having this year.
What's that?
They already do the World Series.
No, that's what they're working towards now. So they had 8 teams from the American League and 8 teams from the National League. Yep, coming to the playoffs. So the Reds play the Braves, the best 2 out of 3. All the games are in Atlanta.
Ooh,
And
That's tough.
so, there's really not a home field advantage because I don't know if they're even allowed to have fans, or if they are, it's only a small amount. Well, the baseball commissioner did because they're trying to protect against the pandemic, and so they're trying to create their own little bubble. But the good news for the Reds is they're throwing their 3 best pitchers Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I think they start with Trevor Bauer, and then Luis Castillo, and then Sonny Gray. And Trevor Bauer is in consideration for the Cy Young. He's had a great year. So
short year, so we really don't know how great a year he would have had.
But
He
it-
pitched him, a whole season. But I'll take it.
yeah, for a small window.
We'll take it.
Now the tough part is he's going up against a guy, I believe his name is Max Fried, Fried,
Yeah.
and I believe he was 7-0 this year. So he's a pretty good pitcher too. But then after that, I think and that's a pretty even matchup. And then after that, I think the matchups favor the Reds because Atlanta pitches 2 guys that I believe are rookies. Good pitchers, but they don't have the pressure of, they've never experienced playoff pressure.
And Atlanta always chokes when they get in playoffs.
Uh-oh, wait a minute. We got to hide that on the microphone. We don't want the people of Atlanta to know that they always choke.
They choke.
Do they choke in the playoffs?
Well, look at the time they went to the
Yep.
playoffs. Went to the playoffs like 9 times.
And then
And they
the
only did it
90s,
once.
yeah.
Yeah. They won what, one World Series
Yep.
in that time?
Once. They,
Yep.
they won the division, like 9 years in a row.
Almost 10 in a row, yeah.
Yeah, but then they get to the playoffs, joke.
Well, I think we definitely have some Reds fans here.
Yes, yeah.
Pulling for the Reds. No,
No, I'm actually a Blue Jays fan and a Boston Red Sox fan.
really?
Yes.
How did you become a Blue Jays and Red Sox fan?
Oh,
That's an interesting combination.
well, back when the Blue Jays, this is telling my age, back when the Blue Jays became a team, they come out with 2 new teams each year, back in 77. It was the Blue Jays and the Mariners. And I don't know, I was helping my brother sort through his baseball card collection, and I liked helping him out because it was more fun than playing with my sisters. They're stupid and play with dogs.
And you like your sports.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. So my brother just, he's like, I was like, this is a new team, the Blue Jays. And I was like, oh, I like that,
So who was the greatest Blue Jay of all time?
Well, that's a difficult question.
Offensively or defensively?
Oh, that's a hard one. That is a real hard one because I got a lot of favorites.
Okay, throw me a couple of your favorites.
Okay, well, the greatest people would mostly say would be Joe Carter.
That's the one that popped into my head.
That was in my head
Because
too.
no home run, and they're touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a better home run in your life.
That's cool.
Yeah, off of Mitch Williams.
The Wild Thing. I haven't thought of Mitch Williams in years.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but Joe Carter, who knew he was going? It was a 3-2 count. Mitch Williams had to throw something over the plate, and all Joe had to do was just hit it.
Judy, you want to switch seats?
I was gonna. You should have a job as a baseball analyst. You're fantastic.
I brought up on that. I had 2 older brothers. I had 2 older brothers and a mother who really liked baseball. So I was influenced a lot.
I think next I'm giving you a homework assignment for next week for our show. Your homework assignment for next week: the top 3 or 4 best baseball movies of all time, in your opinion. Don't say them now. Don't say them now.
That is so easy.
Don't say them now, because we might have a little debate. That will be everybody's homework. Everybody's homework. Well, you think about it, and then we're gonna come back with our own list. Let's say, what do you want to say, 3 or 4 or 5?
I got one.
You want to say top 5?
Yeah, because I
Steve?
came off
I got 2
5.
baseball players.
All right, but I don't want to hear them today. I want you to save it. So everybody for their homework next week, look up your top 5 favorite baseball. Think about maybe your top 5 baseball movies. I'm sorry, baseball movies. Yeah, baseball movies.
They based on the true story.
Doesn't have to be. It can be fictitious.
2 years.
I'm-
I have to say what they are.
Okay. But that will be our topic for next week for fun. So anything else with baseball? Larry, you want to say anything about the Reds? Because I know you're a big Reds fan. You're excited they're in the playoffs?
Yes, I am. Yep.
I am too. So what do you think? Who's going to win the series between the Reds and the Braves?
2 out of 3 for the Reds.
The Reds?
2 out of 3 for the Reds. I like
All
it.
right. I like that. I like the confidence. All right.
Can you read our chat?
We have Jackie Santiago and
James Bean?
first off, the sound and picture is great. So that's good to
Yep.
hear.
That's nice.
And we've got James. Yep. And Amanda already shared her favorite movie.
Yes, you did.
And I actually agree with her, but I'm not going to say what it is until next week.
You agree that's the best?
I do.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
All right.
Well, you can't say that and then not say
That's
it.
true. That's not very
so
fair.
we'll talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it next
We're going to talk about it next week. But let's give a welcome out to Jackie and James who are watching online.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And keep shooting things in the chat, and we'll try to peek over. Although I don't have my glasses on. Bill's got his.
I've got your glasses on.
so,
Yeah.
so we'll do our best to see what we got.
We can do that. So we talked about the Reds starting pitching, which is great. I have no problem with starting pitching. But what's going to hurt the Reds? It could hurt the Reds is their lack of hitting. The fact that they, how many runs come from the home run for the Reds
It
for the
was
season?
like 61%.
Over 60%. Yeah. Yeah, it's by far the most in baseball.
They have good hitters.
They do, but when you look at the averages, I know batting average isn't everything, but they don't have a single player hitting above 300.
300.
No,
Go
and,
get
you
the
know,
Bengals.
but
Ooh.
I think they're, I mean, Mustakas, he's great when it comes to playoffs.
Yeah, he's got some good
He
experience.
has some pop.
Castellanos was in the playoffs
Yes,
last year.
yes, and then,
Votto's been to the playoffs before, so they've got some experience.
and then there was what's the young guy? He's a really good hitter. And
Suarez,
yes, thank you. I
He's-
couldn't remember.
he's got some power.
He's got some power. Yeah.
This has been a tough year for him, though.
Yeah.
He's come on lately though.
Yeah.
He started out very slow, was batting around 200 or below 200. But lately,
Yeah.
he's been hitting
but,
well.
But, if he gets hot, all he has to do is get hot for 3 games.
Anything can happen, Judy. You're right. I love
So
that.
we're gonna keep our fingers crossed. Next week, hopefully, when we meet, we'll be talking about Reds moving on in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, they're gonna pass that Atlanta, no problem.
We're gonna switch gears real quick, and I think we got some folks that want to talk a little football.
Mm.
So I know on everybody here is the Bengals game from yesterday,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
23-23 tie.
But see,
That was
last
a nail
time.
biter.
It was a nail
It
biter.
was a tie score, and they skunked that field goal.
Yeah, he didn't
They
mention it.
skunked.
Yeah, he missed the field goal.
And that team, now that field goal wasn't really good for the Bengals. Bengals would have took that game.
Yeah, they would have won.
They would have won, but they played the other team, figured out they knew, Bengals known for that sneak attack.
Yeah.
They lead off, and then the other team, they never got hip to it, see, they know Bengals make that sneak attack come back on you real quick. Well, see, this time, when they skunked that field goal, they figured they like, okay, we got them, that's one time make a comeback. So they skunked that, they brought them down, and that broke the tie.
Well,
And
they.
yesterday,
Oh, go ahead.
they could have won that game even though it came to a tie score, but they
They would have won the game.
Yeah, they were winning
Opportunity.
23-16, and all they had to do was stop Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and they couldn't do it.
Plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, they got that one little thing on there, them penalties. See, with the Bengals, they get them penalties that sets them back.
The
He had a
secondary.
penalty on us yesterday.
So how many times did Joe Burrow get sacked yesterday? Did you catch it?
You know, caught some
I got
of
it.
I went to the store on him.
Eight times he was
I was
sacked.
gonna say 5 or 6.
And there was
Yeah.
one particular sack. Actually, no, I think he got rid of the ball before he got sacked, but he got absolutely
Bell rung.
I was going to say drilled, got his bell rung, and had to sit out for a play.
Yeah,
But-
somebody wasn't doing their job.
If
The
he
quarterback's
keeps-
not supposed to get sacked like that.
No, somebody is not doing their
Somebody
job.
was-
Actually, I'm gonna say-
not doing their job.
Multiple people on that offensive
Yes.
line are not doing their job.
That's their job, to protect the quarterback.
The defense was weak.
Yeah.
So-
Very much. The defense was weak. That's how we got that penalty. When we get retired at school, we got that red, we got that flag on us, that penalty.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
somebody wasn't doing their job, so, why doesn't the coach come in and say, hey, you
Well,
guys aren't doing your job?
Well, I think on
What
the
star
Burrow
player
would
gets
have
injured?
I
I got a
would
question.
think Burrow.
Sure.
said
Question.
something.
What star player comes off the injury list, gets back on? What star player gets injured? It's very simple.
AJ Green,
Thank you.
Yes.
but he's okay. He's still all right.
Okay for the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, but if your quarterback keeps getting sacked, he's not throwing the ball.
Well, and to your point, it's not once. The offensive line has to play as a unit, and they're not doing that because
Right.
when you look across the line, there were sacks coming from up the middle. There's a sack from the left tackle. There's a sack over off of the right tackle, and as a whole, there's a sack where the tight end tried to block somebody.
Yeah.
So it's twofold. Either the scheme isn't working right, the blocking scheme that they set up to protect him, or guys either individually or as a unit are not doing their jobs to give him enough time. And I think I know he got sacked 8 times yesterday, but he's also at the top of the league for the shortest amount of time he has to throw, which I think is just a little over 2 seconds.
Yep.
And you think about how quick
That's
2 seconds. I mean, I snap my fingers and 2 seconds have gone by. And that's how quickly I've got to get the ball and get it out of my hands to Tony or Larry or to any of you. And that's no time. And when that's with people that are 6'5" and 300 pounds coming at me.
You talking about the Dolphins?
But that's what the man gets
Just in
paid
general.
to do. Paid to do that.
He gets paid to get rid of it quick. But the guys up front, they need to step up and do a better job.
What killed him? They had five sacks in the first 4 quarters, but he got sacked 3 times in overtime.
Yeah.
That was a killer.
What's
Yes.
the next team we playing next?
We play Jacksonville.
Oh, Jacksonville.
Oh, good.
We better be able to beat Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They can't beat them.
If we can't beat, then you're gonna see people starting to turn.
Yeah.
Because I'm still holding out some hope that not that they're going to have a winning season, but holding out hope that they'll have a season better than last year.
If they make the playoff real good, they missed that playoff last year.
Well, the Bengals weren't even close to the playoffs last year.
I know it was kind of screwing up.
Yeah, they only had, I think, 2 wins last year. This year, I think if they've get the 5 or 6 wins, that would be considered an improvement. And I'm not going to say it's a good season. Anytime you're 6-10, that's not
Not
good.
a good season.
But you're showing improvement and you're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, but see, talking that old jive again. We ain't that good with the playoff. We're going to that Super Bowl thing is long gone.
It has been for years.
That's gonna be a while before we can get that excited about a Super Bowl.
Well,
That game is
let's
gone.
keep going around the room for a minute. Larry, did you have any comments on the Bengals game yesterday? No comments? Kind of like how it ended. In a tie, just it is what it is.
Mhm.
Tony, how about you? Any comments from yesterday's game?
It's good to score against the Seahawks, only against the Eagles, but they didn't.
Yeah, I thought they could have scored some more points, especially late in the game. They had to settle for a field goal when I thought they had a chance to get a touchdown and put the game away.
They could have done that. Yeah, definitely. They had a lot of
They
opportunities.
screwed that's their routine. They start off leading,
There's no
and
way.
then all of a sudden, the other team will figure out that little sneaker thing they be doing, and they get sabotaged at the end.
We talk about closing games. The Bengals gave the 2 touchdowns the Bengals gave up. One was with less than a minute in the first half, and the other was with less than a minute to go in the game.
Yeah.
Those are killers.
Mhm.
You got to be able to shut them down.
So I think those were only 2 touchdowns. Was
Yeah.
it 3 field goals and 2 touchdowns?
Yep.
23-23?
Yep.
Well, on the always try to find something positive to take away. So on the good plus side of it, they've lost 2 games, but when you look at it, they've played 3 games as a whole or as a total, but they've only lost by a combined 8 points. The 2 games. They lost a very close one against the Chargers, who are a good team.
Yeah.
They lost in Cleveland. And they're short some players in that game, defensive players we were missing. We tied Philadelphia, so hopefully, if we can beat Jacksonville, it would be a nice momentum boost
Oh, yeah.
for the Bengals.
Does this feel like something you've been saying the last 5 or 6 years, though?
No, you know what? Because I would say about 5 years ago, they were still making runs into the playoffs.
They were, yeah.
The last couple years, like last year's roster. That roster last year was a 2-14 roster.
Mhm.
They probably could have had, who's one of the great football coaches? Don Shula. I don't think Don Shula could have coached the team last year to a winning record. But they did a lot in the offseason to address it and in the draft. And so they have much better talent this year. And they should have a better record because they definitely have more talent on that team.
So with Joe Burrow being sacked almost twice as much as anybody else, he's been sacked 14 times, I think, in 3 games. He's still in the top 10 in yards thrown.
He looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, for a guy who had no preseason and is a rookie,
Mhm.
he's just calm under pressure out there.
You know-
The quarterback for the Bengals.
Yep.
This is what I see. Give the man a break. Man, especially coming out the oven. Give him a break. I mean, ain't like he gonna make success overnight. Give
Mhm.
the man a break.
I don't think
It's
anybody's.
just like with Dawson.
Yeah.
You took a chance on him. He started off not too bad, but even though he did go down the drain at the end, but he was pretty good. Dawson was pretty good.
It wasn't his fault.
Well, I'm going to touch on a couple things there. So one, nobody's being critical of Joe Burrow. He's done a really good job.
Dawson's doing a
Now,
good job.
Andy Dalton, for the first 6 years or so when he was here, he did a good job. Like, he took our team from him and AJ Green and others as well, helped turn the franchise around when they had missed the playoffs. And Andy is who he is. I mean, he's a above average quarterback. He's never going to be a great quarterback. He's never going to be an elite quarterback, but he is a solid quarterback.
Mhm.
And if you're gonna play that way and have a quarterback who's solid, then you've got to have other positions where people are either great or elite to help support him. And as the years went by, they did not put together the cast the last couple of years of talent to support him. The last 2 years, the talent on the team was not what it should be. They didn't sign free agents. They weren't very active in free agency. Draft picks didn't pan out. They drafted 2 offensive linemen in their first and second round a few years back. Neither of them are still on the team.
Mhm.
So when you have misses like that, the whole team, the team as a whole suffers. So it's not all on Andy Dalton. I would love to see Andy with the Cowboys. Yeah, I know you're a Dallas fan.
Yep.
Get a chance to play a little bit. I want to see Dak get hurt.
Right,
But I would
yeah,
love to see
Well,
him play.
Dawson was going to get traded to some other team. I thought it was the Cowboys or somebody.
They were looking to trade him, but he finished out the year and he became a free agent.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, either he became a free agent or he was let go by the Bengals. I'm not sure which way that went, but he went where he should, which is back towards his home in
Yep.
Texas, and see how he does with the
It
Cowboys.
would be fun to see him play. Dak's leading the league in yardage right now, right? They're
Yep.
3, yeah.
He's doing great.
Well, you get him
He might do better in Texas. That's his home turf. I think he will.
still.
A lot of times when people go back home to where they're from, they may have been playing at this level, but when they get back home, there's something that kind of it reignites that fire and that passion, and they play at a much higher level. And I think if Andy gets a chance down there at some point, I think you'll see him play at a high level.
Be nice to have Amari Cooper on your side too.
It doesn't hurt to have an offensive line that he
Yeah,
has, and
and a
Ezekiel Elliott.
Running
that's-
back, yeah.
That's
Those
But
things
to
help.
me, it always starts up front on the offensive line. If you don't have an offensive line, it doesn't. You could have Joe Namath back there, a quarterback. Yeah, you just you got to have some time to throw and some holes to run through.
Yeah, those sacks killed their running game too. They lost 86 yards on sacks, and they only had 49 yards rushing. That was
Wow.
a tough one.
That
Yeah.
is tough.
And Carson Wentz looked like the running quarterback yesterday. He
Yeah.
ran for over 50 yards, I think.
So any other teams or games you want to talk about from yesterday? What's that?
Any fights this year?
Boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you got me on boxing. I don't know anything about boxing. I was still sticking with football for a minute. Anything else with football? You guys covered it from yesterday? There is a good game tonight.
Oh, there's a great game tonight.
Who's it, Tony? Kansas City Chiefs, and is it Baltimore?
Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens.
That should be a great game.
You got Chiefs Ravens.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I am too. I'll have to DVR that and maybe catch the second half. But that should be an awesome game.
When they played last year in the regular season, Kansas City got way ahead of them, right? And Lamar Jackson almost brought them back.
Yes.
It was just pretty fun. I love watching Lamar Jackson play just about better than any quarterback.
See, I'm on the other side. I love watching Patrick Mahomes play. Not that I don't like, not that I don't like watching Lamar. I just think Mahomes is just so exciting to watch. And plus, if I have to watch Lamar, then I'm usually watching him beat the Bengals twice a year.
Right.
So it gets a little tough to watch that sometimes. Well, why don't we move on and see if there's anybody who wants to talk just real quick. NBA. Does anybody know in the NBA? Basketball finals. Who's in the finals? They just determined the finals.
Oh, God. So tip of my tongue.
There's some guy who used to play up in Cleveland. He's on another team now.
LeBron James.
LeBron James. What team is he on now?
The Lakers.
Very
Very
good.
nice.
Very. The Lakers. LeBron James.
LeBron James. Yep. And he's actually playing his former team, the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
So it should be a good series. The Lakers against the Heat.
You think it'll be a good series?
I think it will be. I think you heard it here first. Maybe. I don't know if anybody else, but I'm picking the Miami Heat.
Are you really?
I think the
I
Miami
like that.
Heat are going to upset
I tell
the
you what.
Lakers because I'm assuming the Lakers are favored.
Eric Spoelstra looked like a genius right now.
And how far would that go in kind of the notch on his belt in his career?
Oh, my
To be
goodness.
able to beat the Lakers and LeBron, because when LeBron was in Miami, Eric Spoelstra was kind of the side note that he was the coach. It was,
Mhm.
well, they won because of LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade.
Mhm.
But if he were to turn around and win a championship without LeBron and actually beat. I know LeBron's a little bit older, beat LeBron's team.
And with a 20-year-old point guard.
Yes, I just think that would be just huge for Eric Spoelstra.
I do too. Jimmy Butler said something really intelligent, I thought. He said, asked about being in the finals. And he said, everybody knows you're going to win it. You got to go through LeBron.
Yes.
That's just how it's been the last 9
Yeah,
years.
bottom line on that, really.
Yep.
You get him out the way, you got the whole game.
Yep.
So you heard it here first. Miami Heat are going to win it.
I like it. I started watching the Boston-Miami series, and I was pulling for Boston for some reason. But by the end of the first game, I was a Miami fan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love watching them play now. And they blew out the Celtics in
They did. I just
last game.
I became an Eric Spoelstra fan years ago. There was an article in Sports Illustrated on him and his coach and coaching style and things he does in the community. I was just really, really impressed with him. So
Mhm.
I'm rooting for Miami, but I also think they're going to win. So
That's
we'll see
nice.
what
I
happens.
wish they would win. That would be cool. That would be nice. Tony, you got another comment on basketball?
Tom Brennan got suspended.
Who got suspended?
Tom Brennan.
Oh yeah, we did hear about that.
Yep.
Well, he did. I just heard the other day he ended up resigning, so he is not going to be back as the announcer for the Reds. So
Because he said something.
he said something very inappropriate that should not have been said. Well, we're gonna talk about something else because we're gonna keep it fun today.
Right.
Okay. So we got another sports topic we got to hit upon. I don't know if any of you. I'll speak for myself. I'm not a big hockey fan, but Bill has a team that is in the hockey finals, and it's the Dallas. And it's not the North Stars.
It's not the North Stars.
It's the Dallas Stars.
You got it, yeah.
And
Right.
they're in the finals. And
First time in 20 years. First time in 20 years in the Stanley Cup Finals. And no one expected them to make it. What really helped them out was this neutral site thing, not having to go back and forth to play and away games. So they're not looking really great right now. They're down 3-2 with game 6 to come. But they were able to win game 5 in overtime. I tell you what, the most exciting and nerve-wracking thing about sports to me is overtime hockey in the playoffs. Do you ever watch hockey?
I watched the highlights.
Okay.
And I watched the overtime of the I watched the highlights of the game of Dallas and Tampa the other day, and that was phenomenal. Phenomenal game. I mean,
it was. Yeah.
To be down, come back and tie it, and then go into overtime.
Yep.
It was exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. Yeah, but overtime hockey can end on the turn of a dime. You cannot take your eyes off the screen if you're watching the game, which I love. But it's just nerve-wracking. The Dallas started out the last game great. They had 2 shots on 3 goals in the first, so they got off to a good start. We'll see. Tampa Bay's an awfully good game, awfully good team.
Well, if you're flipping channels at home and you catch the hockey game, pause on it so you can be thinking of Bill and
That's
root
right.
for Bill and his Stars.
You know who's a big hockey fan? Is Brian. If we ever talk
Yes.
hockey, we got to bring Brian down and let him.
Yeah, he's definitely knowledgeable about the sport.
Absolutely.
and a big fan.
Yep.
I did hear something happened over the weekend that I don't think has ever happened before, and that's where I could be wrong on this, but the team that won the national championship in college football last year, which was LSU, which is where Joe Burrow was, lost over the weekend in their first game.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it happened, actually, I'm sorry, it hadn't happened since 1998.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't going to do trivia, but I think I'm going to throw a little trivia. Does anybody know who LSU lost to over the weekend? Louisiana State. Do you know who they lost to over the weekend? Mississippi State is correct, Larry. Very
nice,
good.
Larry.
And here's my question for you now, too. So Mississippi State beat LSU. Back in 1998, there was a team that lost its first game of the year after winning the national title. Can anybody name who that college was?
Did they lose to an Division I school?
Well, who did Appalachian State beat?
There you go.
Michigan, Larry.
Very nice,
good.
Larry. So 98, Michigan won the title, and 99,
I think
Appalachian State.
it was 97. Michigan won the title. 98, they lost their first game of the year.
At
I'd
home.
have to get my fact checker, but I think Larry's right that it was Appalachian
at
State,
home to Appalachian
which was
State.
just a phenomenal
Yep.
game.
Yep.
And being that I'm an Ohio State fan, I have no problem talking about Michigan losing the first game of their year after
Right,
year.
yeah, right.
Mm.
We talked a long time ago in the show about I can get into any sport, right? If it's live, I can. By the end of the game, I'm pulling for somebody. Did you happen to watch Louisiana play?
I did not.
They're in the top 15, and they were trying to get to 3-0. They were down 18-17 with no time left. They had a kicker. They were in field goal range, 54-yarder. Their kicker was 2 for 6 with a career long of 34 yards. So they trot this kid out on the field, and he nails a 54-yarder
Oh, wow.
to win the game and keep them undefeated. It was
That's
really
awesome.
exciting. Yeah, he got carried off the field, and it was pretty cool to watch.
Now, I thought one more thing was that I know we're close to probably wrapping up here because we've hit most of our topics. One more thing I thought was going back to football for a second. There was a stat I heard over the weekend, and it kind of blew me away. So if you go back to last week, this ties back to Bill's Dallas Cowboys. So last week, the Dallas Cowboys beat the Atlanta Falcons in a phenomenal game. Atlanta's just crushing the Cowboys. Cowboys come back, and they get an onside kick at the end of the game, and then they go down and kick the field goal to win the game. Okay, and so in that game, at one point in the fourth quarter, Atlanta had a 98% probability of winning that game. Dallas had a 2% chance to win that game.
Is that really how it wasn't over 98%?
It might have been a little higher than 98. It was like 98 point something.
Because
So Atlanta this week played Chicago. And the same thing happened in the fourth quarter.
Yes, it did.
Atlanta's got a big lead over Chicago. And at one point in the fourth quarter, Atlanta had over a 98% chance to win. And Chicago comes back and beats them. And I don't think in the history of NFL football has a team had a 98% probability
2 in a row.
to win 2 weeks in a row and lose
That's
both of those
awfully
games.
hard. That's hard.
Wow.
You know, the biggest win percentage I saw this weekend was Texas and Texas Tech. Did you see any of that game?
Yeah.
So Texas beat Texas Tech 63-57, I think, in overtime.
Wow. Where's the defense?
They were down. Texas was down 56-41. So they must have beat them 63-56. Yeah, Texas was down 56-41, 15 points with less than a minute and a half to go. 99.9% chance for Tech to win the game. They drove in for a touchdown, kicked the extra point, kicked the onside kick and got it, scored another touchdown, went for 2 to tie it up at the very end of regulation, tied it up, and then won it on a touchdown in overtime.
Oh, I would love to see that.
99.9% chance.
Wow. I mean, everything has to go right to
Exactly.
win that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. The onside kick was pretty cool. The kid hit it where it would hit the ground and pop up. And so it actually went over the first line of defense.
Okay.
And somebody bobbled it, and that's how Texas was able to get on it. But
Well, I mean, I thought the onside kick last week in the Falcons-Cowboys game was just phenomenal because it spun like a helicopter.
it did.
And the Falcons players were just kind of like looking at it and
Did-
like, that was like, if you're not going to grab it, we are.
Not only were they looking at it,
Your score, right?
they were backing away from it.
I know, like they were.
Like they
afraid
had
of
to let it go 10 yards before they touched it. And the defense doesn't have to do that.
it. Yep.
They just have to touch the ball whenever they can. So that was, yeah, I imagine there was some serious talk about that play in the locker room. But,
Well-
you know, for the Braves, Atlanta, for the Falcons to have done what they did in the Super Bowl too, that's
Yeah.
some serious meltdowns.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, they got some work to do to turn it around because
Yeah.
you can't have that many meltdowns in that short of a period of a time frame
No,
and have success. It's just tough to do.
I did like the Buffalo game. Did you happen to see any of that?
I did see the Buffalo game. That
They
was a
looked,
great game.
that was pretty neat. That would have been one of the top 3 comebacks, I think, in NFL history. If, who was it?
Oh, the Rams,
Yeah, if the Rams had won that game.
because it was what was that like 30?
It was
20,
30
29-3 at one
I
point.
think it was either 32 or 29-3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
Ooh.
rough.
Real.
Yes,
When the Bengals on it, was the Browns on this thing? 'Cause I think I was seeing it on 19.
the Browns were on. They played Washington football team. Yeah, the Washington football team. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I got changed. I thought 19 had Bengals. So I looked at, no, this is Brown.
You had to go channel 12 for the Bengals to find that.
19.
All right.
That was a very interesting game.
So in closing, what's the homework for next week?
We gotta come up with the famous movie.
All right.
Top 5 baseball movies.
Top 5 your favorite baseball movies. For those of you online, be thinking about your top 5 baseball movies. You can send them into the chat next week. When we return, we're going to be 1:30
1:30
next
next Monday.
and we'll have lots to talk about. And I appreciate everybody being here today. It's great to be able to talk sports with everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Judy, that was awesome. Thank you. Seriously, we'll switch these.
James and Jackie online, I hope you all have a great day, and Amanda too. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Chris.
That's it. I just got to turn this off real quick. Okay. Yeah.